Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. Today's class we're going to focus on inner thighs. So I have some featured poses for us today. One of them is frog pose, and another one we're going to be using a strap to really get a nice lengthening and stretch in the inner legs. And we'll be doing a version of Supta Baddha Konasana. So what's that? It's just a reclining bound angle pose, and with a little bit of a lift to get an extra stretch in the inner legs. Sometimes we can get a little tight in the inner legs, so I thought this would be a good practice for us. All right, here's our props. We will need something soft to sit on or lie on, and that is a blanket or a towel or even double up on your yoga mat, so you can do that too. We will be needing a yoga strap or something long like a jump rope, a belt, something like that. And a couple of yoga blocks I've got here, or it's a couple of hardbound books. If you don't have that, just something that's firm and stackable. It could even be just be a nice firm pillow or cushion. Now, the other thing that might be helpful for this class, if you happen to be practicing on a hardwood floor, that will also be a bonus, because as we get into frog pose, we will be kind of doing a little slipping and sliding. You'll see when we get there. Alrighty, let's go ahead and begin in a comfortable seated position. So sitting up nice and tall, we're going to start with a few deep breaths. We're going to inhale and just feel the breath rising, filling up the lungs. Exhale completely. Do that again. A nice full breath in. Feel the breath rising, filling up your lungs. And as you exhale, just draw your navel inward towards your spine. Just a nice way to connect to your center body. We'll just hold here in stillness as we continue to connect with the breath. You can do this with your eyes open, just taking a soft gaze forward or even down at the floor. You can even just close your eyes. A wonderful way just to tune into yourself. Notice how you're feeling. Good. Let's take 3 more breaths. We'll add a very simple movement to this breath. When you're ready, inhale and extend your arms out and up, a nice stretch as you reach towards the ceiling. Then exhale, extend your arms out as if you're going to touch the walls on either side of you as you bring your arms back down by your side, completing that first round of breath. Go ahead and continue. Inhale, extend your arms out, reach all the way up, nice big stretch. Exhale, reaching outward. Now go ahead and continue on your own, breathing and moving at your own pace. Feel the sensations in your body as you continue to focus on the breath. Maybe you'll feel that nice lengthening through the sides of your body as you reach up into the air. Paying attention to your shoulders as your arms go up and down. And of course, focus on the breath. Now go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, just let your arms relax and come to stillness. I'm turning sideways so you can see what's going to happen with the body as we move into these next few poses. Now, first of all, let's change our leg posturing. Since we're going to be working with inner thighs, I thought we would start in our seated bound angle pose. Another name for this is cobbler's pose. Let me just turn towards you for a moment, and you'll see I'm just bringing the soles of the feet together, knees are bent and just slightly opened here. Like that. You're going to get a stretch in the inner legs. So I'm just turning this way because you're going to bring your hands behind you and just kind of sit back onto your fingertips. just to keep the arms nice and long here. As you're able, roll your shoulders back, even squeezing your shoulder blades together as you're able, and then finally just tip your chin up slightly. So we've created a mild back bend. Now as we inhale, we'll push into the floor with the hands. At the same time, feel the breath rising to fill the lungs. Nice expansive breath. Then exhale, still squeezing shoulder blades together and drawing your navel inward towards your spine. Now you may notice as you press into the floor with your hands, you're actually lifting the torso slightly up. And that creates a little bit more space in the hips, which may allow the legs here to kind of drop open slightly. And that's where you might feel that stretch in the inner legs. So again, inhale, press into the floor. Torso rising, breath rising, filling up the lungs. I can feel my legs get heavy, a little stretch in the inner legs. Exhale, draw belly in. Maybe 2 more times like this. And then just lower your chin, neutral neck, walk your hands toward yourself, and even bring your hands out in front here, and just holding on to your ankles. Take a breath here. We're just continuing to feel that stretch in the inner legs. We're going to keep this leg posturing. Now we'll take a forward fold. If you can, maybe you can just scoop up your toes or just continue to hold on to your feet or ankles. You'll inhale and just feel an extended spine. Again, you're still feeling the sense of your torso rising up out of the pelvis. Exhale, pull belly in for a little added support, and then hinge forward. And again, notice the stretch sensation in the inner legs. You don't have to go too far to feel this, just to the point where you do without forcing the sensation. And hold and take a few deep breaths. About 2 more here. Make sure the spine is still nice and long, and then hinge your way back up so you're nice and tall. And just pause for a moment. All right, just carefully make your way to your hands and knees. Now this is a nice opportunity to use your blanket if you happen to have one. I like to unfold mine out to a nice rectangle for my knees to rest on and my hands. So you'll be here. Ready for cat and cow, just a nice flow to get through your spine and open the back body. Inhale, tip your chin up, looking forward. You want to feel like your heart is moving forward. At the same time, your pelvis is tipping back, your belly drops, and you create this back bend. Exhale, tuck your pelvis under. Feel your belly button pull up towards spine. Feel the natural curvature of the spine as your chin tucks in towards chest. And then reverse it. Send the pelvis back. It's an anterior tilt. You create the back bend as the belly drops. Heart opens, look forward. Cow pose. Exhale, round it all out. Chin to chest, cat pose. Now just continue to move and breathe at your own pace as you flow through these 2 poses. This will also be our setup when we eventually get to frog pose. That'll be a little bit later. I'm going to add a few more movements before we get to that particular posture. Go ahead and finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. And when you're complete, just come to a neutral tabletop position and just hold here in stillness for a moment. Go ahead and crawl off of your blanket or towel, whatever you're using for a nice pad. We'll set that to the side, keep it handy. Return to hands and knees. We'll get set up for downward facing dog. Go ahead and step your hands forward here so your wrists are out from underneath your shoulders. Do spread out your fingers. You can even grip your mat with your fingertips.
Feel that stretch between each finger, and then lean into your hands or press your palms into the mat so your palms are flat, getting a nice stretch. As you press, feel the strength and energy in your arms. Nice and straight here too. Tuck your toes under. Let's do one more cat-cow flow. Inhale, tip chin up, arch your back. Exhale, round it out. Hold cat pose. Keeping toes tucked, lift your knees off the floor. Send your hips into the air. Lower your chest so your ears are right between the arms, and you'll be in downward facing dog. If you need to, adjust your feet, even adjust your hands a bit if you need to on your mat. Do keep a good bend in your knees. That way you can send your hips up into the air, maintaining a nicely extended spine. And of course, hands pressing firmly into the floor. Good energy in the body. Hold for one more breath. Then we'll take a few steps forward until your feet are underneath you, or at least flat on the mat right about here. Slide your fingertips towards your toes. You'll be in forward fold. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees. Hold here as we exhale. And as you're able, get parallel to the floor, so you're like a table. Maintain a nice bend in the knees when you feel like your hips and tailbone are moving to the back wall, while your crown is moving to the front wall. Hold for a couple breaths. You're going to do your willful energy in the legs, not so much the inner legs, but certainly the thighs and perhaps the hamstrings. Now lean back into your heels a little bit so you can easily tap your toes. Bend your knees to lower your hips as you lift your chest. Take your arms out to the side, then stand up nice and tall, reaching into the air. Nice big stretch, extended mountain pose. And exhale, go ahead and bring your arms down to your side. Very nice. All righty. So we're just standing in mountain pose for a moment. We'll just take a few deep breaths. And we'll do another half salute to the sun, which is basically just doing a forward fold and coming back up. Here we go. We're going to inhale, extend the arms into the air. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back as if you're sitting down into an imaginary chair. Moving slowly, take your time. Down towards toes. Inhale, slide your hands up to the shins or knees and extend your spine. We'll pause like we did earlier. Just hold for a moment. Feel the energy in your legs, well extended spine. Shifting weight into the heels, bend your knees, lower your hips, lift your chest, spread your wings again, then inhale and stand up all the way, reaching into the air. Good. Exhale, arms return to your side. Wonderful. We're going to do a variation of Warrior 1 and Warrior 2. Warrior 1, they'll both kind of get into the hip flexors and inner thighs just a little bit. Great to incorporate into the practice, but also prepares us for our featured poses. So let's return to mountain pose right here at the top of the mat. Again, these are variations of Warrior 1 and 2. You're going to bend the knees slightly and keep them soft. Shift your weight into your right foot. You can easily lift or tap the left foot and then just tap it back until it doesn't go back any further. Here you can see the heel is lifted, you're on your toes. You're going to turn that left leg out, plant the heel into the floor, shifting your body weight back so we're nicely centered and balanced. Now you see there isn't too much distance between the feet, and that's perfect for this. Go ahead and place your hands on your hips. You're going to push your pelvis down, or feel like you're pushing your pelvis down as you extend and lengthen through the torso. Feel nice and tall, creating some good space in the belt line so you can maybe turn to face mostly forward. Then inhale, extend your arms straight up into the air. Exhale, bend elbows to about 90 degrees. So we're like this. So this is our first variation of Warrior 1. It is a lunge, but with less distance between the feet. The arms are up, but we've got the bend in the elbows. Let's move into our Warrior 2. Let's do this. Let's inhale, extend the arms all the way up. Exhale, bring the arms down to your side. Then bring hands to hips. We're going to shift the weight forward into the front foot so we can re-lift that left heel, because we're going to step back 1, 2 more times, putting a little bit more distance between the feet right there, but still feel quite balanced. Now, inhale, re-extend the arms straight up into the air. This exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. This is our variation of Warrior Two. And what makes it a variation is we still don't have a lot of distance between the feet. Now my left foot's turned in and I can feel a little twinge in my left knee. So I like to turn my foot outward so my knee feels natural here. Alrighty, still feel tall, outstretched arms. Here's our Warrior Two. We're starting to get into the inner legs a little bit, right through here. Warrior Two is a great stabilizing and strengthening pose. All right, to come out of the posture, we're just going to lower the arms. You can even place hands on hips again, pushing pelvis down to feel tall so we can easily make space so we can turn to face forward. Lean into the right foot. A little bend in this back knee because we're going to kind of push ourselves forward. A little push and launch to step forward. Everything facing forward here. Then inhale, stand up nice and tall. Reach for the sky. Exhale, arms return to your side. Let's do the same for the other side. Soften the knees. Let's put weight into the left foot now. So I can easily tap or pick up the right foot. I'm going to tap it back. The heel is lifted. I'm still on my toes until it doesn't go back or it stops naturally here. I'm turning the right leg out so I can put the heel onto the floor, shifting my body weight back so I have this nice balance. Hands on hips, pushing pelvis down, feeling tall, turning torso to face mostly forward. Inhale, extend your arms into the sky. Exhale, bend elbows to 90 degrees. And we're just holding here. Now, if we were in a regular Warrior One, or if there was more distance between the feet, we might feel a stretch in this right leg. You can't see this, but it's in my right hip flexor, just below the belt line there. We're going to inhale, extend the arms straight up. Exhale, bring the arms back down to your side. Place hands on hips. Lean forward so we have some weight into this front foot. Relift that right heel. Tap it once, then 2 times back. Set it back down, putting a little bit more distance between the feet. Hands on hips pushing down, nice and tall, facing forward. We're going to inhale, reach into the sky. Exhale, turn torso now towards the right side of the room as your arms come down to parallel. I'm going to do the same thing with this foot, just turning it out so my knee feels a little bit more natural in the pose. Let's hold here. Also pay attention to this front knee and your toes. They're pointing directly forward because we're really affecting the front leg in this posture. So we want to have good alignment here so we do get this natural lengthening and stretch quality in the left inner thigh. Let's finish up, bringing the hands down. Hands on hips, push down, feel the torso rising, turn to face forward, lean into this left foot. I'm bending this right knee so I can give myself a little push to step forward up to the top of the mat, right about here. And then standing tall and inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, arms return to your side, mountain pose. Alrighty, let's go through a flow, make our way down to the earth, and we're going to start getting into our featured postures. Back to our mountain pose. Here we go. Inhale, extend the arms out and up. Exhale, spread your wings, bend your knees, and sit back into your imaginary chair. Your belly will come down towards thighs, and maybe reaching down. You might touch your toes, but you don't have to touch your toes. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees and extend your spine. Exhale, fold, bend your knees quite a bit so you can place your hands on your mat and just start walking the feet back to the back end of your mat until you are here, lowering the hips just slightly so you're in a straight line, creating plank pose, a wonderful strength posture. Holding for 2 more seconds. And then we're going to bring the knees to the floor. Sit back briefly in hero. Sit off to the side, swing the legs around to the front here, and sit in the center of the mat. We are going to roll down onto our back and get into our back bend. This is where you want to have your stacked blocks or books. Have them nearby. Go ahead and roll down onto your back. You can draw your knees into chest. We'll hold here for a moment and just get reacquainted with your breathing. Feel free to add a little movement here. We're going to be moving into a supported bridge pose. It is a back bend, but it doesn't involve too much activation in the body. Here we go. Let's set the feet onto the floor. Make sure they feel firmly connected to the ground. Your blocks are nearby, you can easily grab them. You'll inhale first to fill up the lungs, exhale through the mouth to empty your belly, and with that, lifting your hips as high as you can or high enough to slide your props underneath you. I've got 2 blocks, they're pretty thick, so they do lift me up quite high, and that's perfect. And then I can just sit. I'm just adjusting the blocks, I'm adjusting my feet and my shoulders, so I feel actually quite comfortable in the posture. Just a few breaths here. If you can tell, I've taken my feet wide. My feet have even stepped a little bit off the mat. Now for me, this feels really good. It feels good in my back, it feels good in my hips. You can always take the feet wide, but you can also keep them more centered or together. Okay, for me, this just feels a little bit more comfortable. Wherever you are, you want to feel this nice opening through the whole front side of your body, chest, belly, thighs. This is our supported bridge pose. Now we will be coming back to a variation of this posture when we get into our reclining bound angle pose, working our inner legs. All right, one more breath. And then after that breath, pressing feet into the floor, you'll feel your glutes engage, hamstrings engage, lifting the hips so you can move your blocks out from underneath you, carefully and slowly coming back down to the ground. Let's go ahead and extend the legs out front. Reach behind you with your arms to get a nice stretch here too. All right, let's bring the knees into chest. Carefully roll to one side. Press yourself up to a seated position. All righty, let's get into our featured pose here. We're going to take this very carefully and gently. You will need your blanket. Now remember, I mentioned earlier that if you happen to be on hardwood floor, this will work great, okay? If you're on carpet, this will take a different kind of sensation and movement, and I'll show you. But first what I'm going to do, I'm going to expose my floor here by folding my mat like so. And I'll place my blanket on the floor. Now you can do this on carpet, okay, or something that isn't slippery. You just have to maneuver just slightly different. I'm just moving my props behind me here because what I'm going to do is have my left knee on my mat that's folded, so I've got some nice padding here, and then my right knee on my blanket, so like this, and my hands out in front. So I'm just on hands and knees here. And what I'm going to do is just slowly start to slide outward, not too far. Now, if you don't have the hardwood floor and you can't slide, you're just going to have to kind of move the leg. I'm just putting pressure in this hand and kind of just moving the leg and just taking it out a little wider. And we're just going to take this to a point where you start to feel this stretch in the inner legs. I'm going to turn sideways in a moment, but I just wanted to show you how I can just slide outward like this. But I want to show you my alignment in hips in a second. Now you don't have to go too far to feel the stretch. I'm already feeling this, and it feels just right. It doesn't feel overly done. Let me turn sideways here so you can see the alignment, okay? So I don't want to sit back too far, and see how my hips are kind of behind my knees. I want to keep that alignment. Can you tell? So knees and hips right in the same alignment. And I'm checking in. It's hard to tell from this angle perhaps, but my knee and ankle have a straight line here. Straight line, and maybe even using like the edge of your mat as a guide right there. And that creates our frog legs. And I'm still sliding out to the side. And I can just stay up on my hands, or if you get low enough, maybe down to elbows. Now we don't have to hold this too long, but you do want to hold the posture. Maybe, let's say, 10 breaths, just so the body can get used to the sensation of the lengthening, that light pull, but not overly stretched. If we feel like you're pulling too much, too far, or even too fast, it just creates a strain in the body. It just stresses the body. And that's not what we're trying to do while we're practicing yoga. We're trying to feel a bit more relaxed and create benefits to our bodies so we feel really good. All right, that's about 10 breaths. I'm going to come back up onto my hands, engaging my core and inner legs. I'm just pulling the slide back in, returning to my mat. And so that's our frog pose. All right, we're going to return to our backs. Let me unfold my mat here. This time, the prop that we'll need is the strap. Alrighty, so your jump rope or belt, whatever you have. I'm just going to roll down onto my back, just like this. I'm just going to set my right foot down for a minute and keep the left knee drawn in, because I'm going to unravel my strap here and wrap the strap around the sole of the left foot and just extend it into the air. I'm just kind of wrapping the strap around my hand so I've got a good hold, something like this. Now basically I'm just taking the leg out to the side, alrighty? But here's a little bit of a trick to help keep good management over the leg as it goes out to the side. Now this right knee can stay bent. You can even extend the leg, which is what I'm going to do for now. I'm going to slowly start taking my left leg outward to the left side, so a bit towards you. My left elbow here is bent, very bent. I'm just going to kind of get out of that strap a little bit so I can get the elbow to the floor. This is going to give me a lot more control over the strap and the foot in the strap. So I can take the leg out, got a nice tug of that strap so I'm not pulling too much in that inner leg. We don't want that leg just to drop or we might pull and strain. Kind of similar to that frog pose. So just a few breaths here. You want to still feel quite flat on the ground. Okay, if you feel like the heaviness of that leg is taking your whole body to that side, just bring that leg back up. Feel a little bit more connected to the floor with your whole body, especially the right side of your body. Okay, let's come back up to center. I'm going to bend the knee, release the strap, set that foot down, and that leg can begin to relax. Let's bring the right knee in. Wrap the strap around the foot and just get this nice leg extension. Now the leg doesn't have to be absolutely straight. It's okay if it's bent, that's fine. I'm going to extend the left leg, start to slowly take the right leg out to the right side. My right elbow is bent and I want to get it on the floor there so I've got more control. Slowly taking that leg out. And I'm starting to feel that right inner leg stretch. And if you feel like you are kind of falling to that side, just use your left arm and take it out to the left side to help balance the body. Five to 10 breaths with these stretches should be sufficient. Alrighty, that feels really good. My legs really needed this today. Let's go ahead and bring this back up to center. And I'm going to bend the knee, release the strap. I'm going to bend both knees because it's for me, this feels really comfortable. I can feel my whole body relax as I come to this pose. All right, so we're done with the strap. Now I'm going to bring in the blocks again. Mine are kind of far away, so let me go ahead and rise up so I can bring them in. But I only really need one for this one. So we're going to go back to the supported bridge pose, lift it on the block, but then take the legs out to get a little stretch. Again, it mimics the frog pose we did. All right, you got one block. You can certainly do two blocks, but one is fine. Inhale, fill up the lungs. Exhale, empty the belly, breathing out through the mouth, lifting the hips. Bring the block underneath you. And what you can do if you want to is actually maybe turn your block up one notch, which I'll try here. It might be a little unstable, so be mindful of that. You're going to bring the legs together, okay, or closer together. I'm going to take my arms out to the side for a little balance as I take the knees out to the side as well. So the soles of the feet are touching and the knees are just kind of going out to the side. That's going to produce that pull or stretch. This is why you really don't need to lift very high. The higher you go, that means the farther away from the floor you are, and more of that pull is going to occur. So if you don't want too dramatic of a stretch, then you don't have to lift this high. I can really sense this. And that might just mean I don't have to hold the pose very long. Maybe just 3 more breaths. There's my 3 breaths. I'm going to bring the knees back up, plant the feet. So I have leverage to lift the hips, remove the block, come back down to the earth. And let's go ahead and re-extend the legs and the arms, reaching in these opposite directions. Nice big breath here. And when you're complete, just bring your arms down to your side, which brings us to Shavasana and the end of our practice. Go ahead and let the feet relax, which means your legs will relax. And just notice how your body just sinks into the earth. Your hips are a little bit more open after this practice, so you might even feel this natural outer rotation of the legs in the pelvic bowl. Your back is relaxed. Take a deep breath and just settle in. Slow, steady breaths, and just like we did at the beginning of the practice, you can keep your eyes opened. Maybe you're just gazing upward with soft eyes, or of course you can just close your eyes. Stay in the moment, stay with your breath. Really experience the relaxation. Feel free to stay in this relaxed position as long as you'd like. It's a wonderful opportunity to allow your mind, your body, just to really let go. Even as I end the practice and come up to seated, you're welcome to stay right here in Shavasana, whatever comfortable position you happen to be in. When it is time to move, no need to move too quickly. You might even just start with breath. Just take some deep breaths, maybe 5 deep breaths. That really starts the movement of the body, because you'll feel the breath moving through the body, generating movement. And as the breath flows, stimulating the body, you might wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, find movement in your feet and your hands, and eventually throughout your entire body. And after your 5th breath, but also when you're ready to move, you might bend your knees, planting the feet to help maneuver yourself to one side. Press yourself up to seated. Move in slow motion. Take your time. I like to bring in something to sit on, like a blanket. In this case, I'm sitting on my block. Sitting nice and tall with legs crossed. Feel the re-extension of the spine, arms relaxed by your side, and for a moment, maybe your hands are just resting in your lap. You can keep them here or bring hands to heart center. And wherever you are, take one more deep breath with me. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste.
Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.